Thokozani bogogo, thokozani bantu abadala, ndiyanivusela nawo wonke amadlozi enihamba nawo. I greet you together with all the spirit guides that you walk with. So, before I get onto our topic, welcome, and thank you very much for being on our channel, visiting us. If it's your first time, welcome. This is home. Feel free. We'll welcome everybody here. And for those who are already our patrons, we are saying bravo. So we are going to be talking about the Mnguni ancestral spirit. That is part 2. There is a part 1, so look out for it. So what is the Mnguni ancestral spirit? I did explain already in the other video, but I will just recap a bit. So this is your ancestral spirit that is linked by blood to you. So these would be your great-grandparents from both or either side of your family, and now they are coming back to have their idlozi, their spirit guide actually, because it's not actually the great-grandparent who takes on your body, you know. It's their idlozi, their spirit guide that comes to you, that works with you. So as I said, these are linked to you through blood, and they come to give you their gift, iskwama, that they had, and some will come to you because they need healing to get to the other side or to be helped to cross over. And there's a lot of reasons why one would not be able to cross over, because there's a whole hierarchy. And what you do on this plane, you actually get held accountable for your actions when you get on the other side. So if you were someone oludungamzi, someone who, when you were at your home, there was no peace, if you were someone who was practicing witchcraft, someone who was just making things hard for everybody, those will hold you back. That is when then you will be coming back and bothering people to ask them to help you to cross over, asking them ukuthi bakuhlambulule. So is it possible then that there are many spirits that can come, even the Mnguni spirit? Yes, there are many spirit guides that can come true. Some will literally be needing you to help them cross over. Some will be coming to give you their gifts. Some would have twassed, they would have initiated in their lifetime, and now they want you to continue with the work that you need to do. Some will be coming to help you to initiate. So there is a lot of reasons why they would come through. So for me, I found it fascinating for me because our clan names are Mnguni. Literally, like the first clan name we say when we sistakazela or kasisbonga, or hari nanatela, nanatela. It would be then Nguni Bafane Tugela Telezi Mchumane Ndangomuzi Kamaliwa Abamaqoqomela Abacela Ukuza Kokwindla, and then it goes on and on and on. So already, you know, the word Nguni has such a strong resonance for me on a personal level. Yes, we are all Bantu, and those who fall under the Bantu end as well. We are also, you know, linked through our ancestors to Mnguni. You know, we are all descendants of Mnguni. But with my family, we start on Mnguni when we actually say our clan names. And I found as well that with Mnguni, especially the Mnguni spirit, is the one that manifested in me, you know, and Umzawe and Umsutu, which would then be linked to Umsutu, be linked to my mother's side, and I'm a mixed, you know, ethnicity in terms of, okay, Xhosa, they say we are Xhosa by virtue of living in the Eastern Cape or having come to live in the Eastern Cape. But you know, when one goes back, far back, we can even trace ourselves back, you know, to places like your Malawi or Mozambique, if you can Google Nyumbane, you will find there's even a place called Nyumbane, which is the ancestors that the first one we go as far as in terms of recollection of our historical story and lineage in my family. We go as far as Nyumbane. Beyond that, no one really has information, which is quite unfortunate. And one of the last descendants of Nyumbane passed on last year, which was actually earlier this year, 2022. But even him, when we asked him, he couldn't recall the names of Nyumbane's father or grandfather. So in my case, I go as far as the 5th generation, because I'm the 5th generation. So that's as far as I go with Nyumbane, And so what you find with the Mnguni ancestral spirit, it comes to redress, some of the lost history. So you will find someone coming up who is as far back as 10 generations. And as far as recollection in my family, it goes as far as Nyumbane when we arrived, in the Eastern Cape. So then the Nguni spirit often comes to redress some of those, but please go to the other video. I don't want to repeat it, but the reason why I felt I wanted to do this video was because I found it fascinating for me when now I had to go and twasa isinguni, and being someone who comes from a family of the people called Fingus, Amamfengu, who in a way are called, I'll say refugees, because they are resultant. Their locality or location where they are is a resultant from having migrated from different places. So when now the Mnguni spirit comes on, it also manifests some elements of that, where you would even have, Amakosi coming in, which in my case I would not be surprised if all of a sudden Amakosi are like, we want you to honor us as well, because my mother's family then comes from, that Zulu lineage, and who knows beyond that Zulu lineage what other lineage exists, which then normally would come up as well, even through Umzawe, that will come up, because Umzawe comes from mainly from the women who married into the family, or through ties that were built or connections that were built by this family, but we are not there today. So some of the things that you will find as you going along on your journey, you start rediscovering yourself. I remember in the late 90s, I had this urge to do a engineering. If you can look here, you can see I still have this, it just looks like a perfectly placed pimple, but it's not. It's a mark now, not even a pimple, it's a mark. But I had this interesting edge to do engineering. It was crazy. Like, I would be sitting and doing this all the time when I had that edge. And eventually, I went and did the engineering, and then it stayed there for quite a while, I think a year and a half or something. Then I went and shot a film, and I had to take it off. It was an international movie. I had to take it off, and then I put it back on. But this closes very quickly. One day, if it's off, this closes. Then another movie came, and then I had to take it off, which was now a local movie. So I needed to take it off. And after that, I never bothered to put it back. But what is the gist of the story? Our blood, our DNA, our marrow knows who we are. We might not know the full history of who we are, but there's something deep within us that calls out, or actually acknowledges the call out to you to return to yourself. Because after I put this on, all of a sudden I would forget that it's there. I think like 2 days later I would forget, and I used to hurt myself a lot because I would forget that it's there and do something or move, but just hurt myself. And one of the main reasons that caused me pain was because the forgetting was because as soon as I put it in, it felt like a completion. Felt like not an achievement, but something was accomplished in me in spirit. I stopped doing this, so much that sometimes I would only remember when maybe I get into a taxi, in sightsee or somewhere, and then people will be, giving me these looks, the judgmental looks or the, mas. And I'd be like, then, somewhere, somehow you follow someone's stare and then it leads you to here. Then I'm like, oh, I've got this kanene. So I found that for me, something got healed or something got fulfilled or satisfied when I eventually did this. That's why I would forget it. And after that, the need for it was gone, the yearning, because it was a yearning for it. It was gone. It was a different feeling now. I had done it. And after that, it never bothered me. And then I found that some of the piercings that we do, some of the adornments that we will do, even some of what the melanated skin does to you when you do piercings or, you get cut, for rituals or stuff. Yes, okay, scientifically, our skin is prone to having keloids or stuff like that. When, for instance, if you do your ear and then you have a piercing and all of a sudden it swells up and, so that's when those are the keloids. So I found that some of the markings that will happen in your body, it's because it's your body remembering some of the markings that would have been done. Because even if you for instance, if you go into the history even of people, the markings that people used to have, those were meant to those were identifiers. Even today, some of the tribes that still practice markings, you would know which tribe that is. It was a way of, connecting you to home. And the blood that would have been shed when that was done, sometimes it would be combined with cow dung and you'd be cleansed with it, or something would be done with it, That kind of connected you to the earth and Mother Earth and the universe in general. Because sometimes the cuttings would be done and you'd go and wash in the river and incantations would be spoken on you, on your head, on your body, on your life about this. And a sense of, connection would be built where it's being said that we are connecting you to this river. This is the source of where you come from. And sometimes that's why we would go to the river or the sea to cleanse, or even the mountains, where some of what you need for healing actually exists in that space, and that is where you will find it. So I found it so fascinating for me when I was now looking at this and exploring this. And when it comes to the spirit of Mnguni as well, it's about redressing imbalances or injustices that would have happened even in the past, where people even lose their identity. Because within the migration of people, a sense of survival gets, how do I put it, ingrained in you. It becomes your first instinct. Whatever you do, wherever you go, your first instinct is to survive. And part of survival, some people lost their identity within the survival mode because they would change their surnames. Even, for instance, there are black people or Africans who changed their surnames to English for the sake of survival. Your Grootboms and your Vulindlelas would be open road or something like that. Okay, that sounds silly. but there are people who did that, and as a result, they would lose connection. And now, generations later, you would find that their children, even within the Caucasian community, or even within the, people of color, even, I'm trying to be politically correct, with the mixed races, let me just say mixed races, they would then find that Mnguni manifests in them, or Umzawe, and it's a way of reminding them who they are, where they come from, the traces of the melanin, the displacement in them and everything, and some of even the cultures that arise out of displacement that make you, go like, whoa, why this, why that, It's something that speaks to where we come from, and where Mnguni comes in to kind of help you even with retracing the steps of your ancestors, to understand even the places that you would have traveled on, because sometimes when you're having dreams, you'll be taken to places where you're like, it feels like I've been here before, because in that dream state you are remembering, you are remembering, and remembering also speaks to a member or a part of yourself reconnecting with itself. So when you go to these places, you always feel like, okay, I've been to this mountain, I've seen these rocks, I've seen this river, I've seen all these things. And Mnguni comes in so many shapes and forms, in terms of, you will even see in your dreams, for me, like my brothers from North Africa, West Africa, they frequent my dreams so much, And of course, you'll have your big five, you'll have not only the big five, but you'll have animals, majestic animals in you. You'll even see warriors, there's so much that comes with you, and it's not limited only to animals, Mnguni, because it's a spirit that works, an ancestral spirit that works with other ancestral spirits as well. For instance, within my consultations, even your bones, you find that when you're working, because Mnguni uses bones, when you are working, doing your divinations, you even have crystals, and some people, you have your bones that are not the ones that I know, your typical knuckles and stuff. Some are, they're drawn on something, they're imprintations. So all those different things, they come, you get reawakened into your gift and the knowledge. For me, the deepest and most beautiful part was me kind of getting a sense of understanding who I am, the places that my people would have traveled, and what they have seen. And now, when it comes to Umzao, for instance, for me, there's a farm that my great-grandfather, he used to be a trader. He was a trader. And a lot of people who have trade in their hands, it's linked to Umzawe, where then that's how Umzawe will even come. Because sometimes they would have made deals and they were scrupulous, or something happened, or there was an agreement that this person will be part of your family. For instance, for me, a simple example, when I even explained Umzawe, even not just Umzawe, even Imilahlo, Imifugwa, and all those in my family. There is a farm that my great-grandfather, the first farm that he had, Kumbefu, is near Lesserton. Just as you turn, we pass Lesserton, and there's a curve. Just as you curve, there is a place that used to be a train station, kind of, and it's a trading port. And just opposite it, there is a juncture that goes into the farm. And with this farm, there are graves, and some of the people, we don't know who they are. It's like, I was even busy some years ago trying to get, there is a fund with South African Heritage Resource Agency that I needed them to help me to restore, because that fund was supposed to as well help people to protect ancestral graves, which are sacred ancestral burial grounds. Yeah, that's the correct term. Sacred ancestral burial grounds, especially from people who got displaced, because even with us, our farm was taken, and then we got another one, and so the graves are still there. So much that in 2013, I think, we repatriated my great grandfather, and it was the most, my great 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 grandfather, the one actually whom I start my lineage with. So I was there, I was the only female during the process, and I got to see, you know, I got to watch everything, you know, I got to meet him, he was a beautiful specimen. You know, where I even wrote a short story about how when the dust was rising, there's something that happened with me when the dust was rising. Maybe one day I'll do a whole video and do edits. I'll ask one of my friends to help me to do that, because that's a story that I still need to tell. And so Mnguni helps you to remember yourself, to reconnect with yourself, and also bringing back some of the values and aesthetics of the belief systems that your ancient ancestors would have believed in. So for me, I got so excited when I had, I mean, it was fearful but exciting at the same time to think that when I introduced my clan names as Mnguni, and now I went and initiated Mnguni, Umzawe, and Umsutu. So there are links that I get a better understanding about who I am and who my people are, and there's a lot that one still needs to learn more about. You know, even I used to collect items. You know, I even remember I have this smoking pipe. I must actually take it out. That is it's an old kind of relic. You know, it's a relic. That's what you call those. And there's a couple of things that I collected. You know, I did not understand why, but now I'm getting answers. You know, I'm kind of understanding why. I even remember my first Maasai beads. I asked a friend who was going to Kenya at the time to bring them, and that's in the early 2000s. So that was long before the hype of, you know, embracing beadwork from the continent, and I still have them, you know, and to know that they came straight, someone I'm connected to brought them for me. And now when I see, you know, the Maasai in my dreams, it's kind of, again, the remembering. So there is a lot that your DNA will teach you through the spirits of Mnguni, and there are some pieces that you will put together, and also a sense of fulfillment, because when you have been displaced, even though it's years and years and years ago, you know, but there's something that you find that reconnects you with your spirit. For instance, my great great grandfather, he used to be, as I said, he used to be a trader, but before he became a trader, when he arrived in the Eastern Cape, actually, he used to work, there's a family, I won't say their surname, in Heu, and he used to work for them, and apparently he was someone who was very strong. Even his headstone, you'll see it in the video one day when I do it, his headstone had a ship on it, and it said that he used to shear 100 sheep alone a day, literally shear them. You know, when you take off the wool from the sheep, he used to do 100. And when you listen to someone like that, you can hear that it's someone who was determined, you know, someone who understood the gold in his hand, and he went on to build this empire of, you know, livestock and trading. He used to travel between Kimberley and the Eastern Cape and other places, going to the mines. So definitely, again, then when you talk about then the spirit of Mzawe, it speaks to money and it speaks to wealth. So there's a lot there that one can look at. But anyway, we're talking about Mnguni, but Mnguni and Mzawe, they always go together. So yeah, I just wanted to do this and just to share this and encourage someone who on the journey feels there are some dots that they need to connect. Go back and find out information, and don't only be limited to what your family tells you. Go to archives, go to museums, go on the net and research. There is a lot that you will find. I still want one day to go to Nyumbane, the place, kind of, get to get a feel. I know there's something that will resonate with me. I'm sure even when I get there, my clothes will just be like, yes, yes. So yeah, embrace your journey. This is just kind of motivation and motivation laced with holding space for you, for those who are battling, because some families you'll find, even some Xhosa families, they battle with the idea of having Mnguni in their family, where the ancestral spirit rises, because then it's like purely we are Xhosa, or another culture, purely we are this, But when you go deep, at the end of the day, we are all descendants of Ndu and Singabantu, and somewhere along the way, there are, exchanges that happened that then influenced who we become and our journeys and even our destinies. So that's why sometimes you'll find some families, they are prone to doing a certain kind of business or holding on to a certain kind of belief. So there's a lot that happens, and some of the identities, they were allowed to remain incorrect, but you come and you are the one who is chosen to do some realignments and readjustments. And sometimes you'll find within your gift that you could be three, from the same family having the same gift, but a same but different gift, because the spirit guides, they each have a different role to play. And sometimes you'll find, let's say for instance, in a family, you need to reclaim your surname. And in that generation, that one person comes and their core element for the family is that. And in another generation, you'll find maybe there is an entity, Islwane, that is in the family that no one has been able to get rid of. Another one is tasked to sort that out. Then another one would be tasked, for instance, with reintroducing the culture of the family outside of what has been known to be it, but the true version, including even imbande, umthi eniphila ngawo ekhaya, oniphilisayo, because sometimes you'll even find that there will be a certain herb islaw to assess the family, but some people, they use it, but it does not do any change for them. But someone will come in their dream and say, use this, and it works. And that's how some of these became. Because then for that person, because it worked for me, obviously my children, I will encourage them. I'll introduce it to them as what has been gifted to me. So they will also end up using that. So some elements of culture, it also comes to kind of redefine and realign, so that we understand where we are is not necessarily where we started, and not even necessarily where we are going to end, but it's an ongoing journey. But somehow, when we stray way too far from ourselves, we will be brought back, we will be brought back. And some of Lamatos that will come, there were pacts and there were agreements that were made in the spiritual world that you go and be the one who will uphold this. Some people, they died in wars, they made pacts. You know how soldiers are. please take care of my family, please. And then that dlozi will come, and you're like, how do I link with them? You don't know. It's because they were fighting together, because with the wars. And then they made an agreement that you must take care, and it's something that's generational. It keeps on going and going. They'll keep on popping. And sometimes you'll find that those will even be very proactive, more than your actual lineage ones, because they came with this deep purpose. And sometimes you'll find that they come from a line that has wealth and riches, or has insebenzo, they have iskwama, whereas your own might not necessarily have iskwama. Then the activation comes through idlozi that an agreement happened, in the spiritual world, that you take this to my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. So Bogokomkulu, I just wanted to share that, and always remember, this is your journey and yours alone. And be kind and gentle with yourself as you thread through these murky waters. Sometimes it will be confusing, sometimes it will be scary, sometimes it will be downright dangerous, because there are people who do not want you to rise to your true royal place, to your throne, and they will do whatever is in their power to interfere with you. So stay true, stay strong, and remember, trust your guides. They will hold your hand and take you through the processes. So please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Catch you next time.